Blog Talk Radio.
We welcome the night.
Every time we get on here. But hello, everyone. Welcome to Horror Night Oasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news from the world of horror. Joining me tonight is my co-host, Ian. Ian, are you there?
I hope so.
Yeah, because as soon as you came on, I hit the button to, stop the music, and then it just froze, and then it kicked me out of the site. So, yay, we're back after a week hiatus. Take a small break and come back, and this is what we get. We get freaking computer, blog talk issues, which is not normal, which is technically normal. But again, whenever this happens, it just throws me off. So I'm trying to log back into the site. Luckily, I managed to get you on. You do not have sufficient permissions from this location to sign into my account. What is going on with Blog Talk? That is ridiculous. But Ian, I know, crazy. But we're here, and we have a special indie show, Indie Horror Spotlight. Hopefully I can get my bearings straight and get back onto this, because, again, every time, like I said, it just messes you up and it throws you off whack, and when you're off whack, you just, you have that opening intro and how we do things, and then just, nope, we're just going to throw you a curveball. But how you been?
Overworked.
Overworked, I hear you, man. I hear you. It's around my neck of the woods as well. Again, I don't want to get too much personal information, but again, it's just, there's a lot of stuff happening, and luckily, again, a week off is nothing. I mean, trust me, I didn't really want to take a week off, but it needed to, and but nonetheless, it's life. What else can you say? But we're here to put that behind us, as we say, and just talk horror. And it's been a while since we've done an indie horror spotlight, and this one just came up here recently, and I was like, you know what? it's relatively new. We haven't done one in a while. Let's do this. And that is for a film called Let Us In. It's brand new. It just came out, I guess maybe a couple months, if that. I have no idea. It's been out, I just got it, and I know it's just, recently come out. But I was like, you know what? Let's do this. And it is from Michigan filmmaker Anthony Moran, who also stars in the film as one of the characters. And honestly, tell you the truth, Michigan's pretty good hotbed for low-budget indie horror, because I've been noticing a lot of indie filmmakers coming out of there. We've reviewed a few films from Michigan filmmakers. I know Rock Bottom Video is from there, and they had a handful of stuff out. And then I know recently I watched a couple other films from Michigan, low-budget stuff, Experiment 53 and Rise of Experiment 53, they were just the starting company. James Bell, who also works in this film as the makeup and gore effects for Let Us In, he's a low-budget indie filmmaker, does a lot of gore stuff. So it's a hotbed for indie horror, and it's good to see, again, a group of people come, and I know they all work back and forth. I know some of them more than others. It's just good to see, indie horror, sufficient in a certain area and just flourish, And this is, again, Anthony, he's relatively new, even though this is his second film. But this is his first foray into horror. I mean, he did a sort of a grindhouse movie beforehand that he showed me a trailer for when I was talking to him, trying to get a copy of the film. And he's a pretty good guy from talking with him back and forth on Facebook. And again, if you want to find him, his information's on our Facebook page, and as well as I believe there's a link in the show description here on Blog Talk, and it'll be on YouTube and everything else. Since I'm uploading all these shows to YouTube. But let's get into this, Ian. I've kind of introed the show enough. And Let Us In it's a pretty solid little movie. I'll say that up front. I usually don't like to do that, but with these indie films, you get pleasantly surprised sometimes. And again, for a lot of stuff that we review and watch, even for indie horror, there's some good, some not so good, some in the middle. This one I was pleasantly surprised with, because there's a good dedication and a craft, and you're interested to see what he does next as a director. But let's get into the film. So Let Us In starts off with, not want to get too spoiler heavy, even though there's not really too many spoilers to spoil. It's a fairly straightforward the numbers movie, where it has a central point and a focus, few characters introduced, and they all converge into one place at the end of the film. And technically that's the gist of the movie. But we have a handful of characters and some plot that we do have to get into. So we have to get introduced to Reed, who is played by Anthony, and he is part of a biker gang called the Satan's Keys. And somebody owes him money, and he's after it. He's trying to go down, trying to locate TJ, I believe is the guy's name. And that's the biker plot. That's TJ and all his gang of bikers, and they're trying to find not TJ, but Reed, and they're trying to find TJ and what TJ owes Reed, which again is money or something. Again, I don't want to give that away yet. And then we're introduced to Chris and Sarah, and again, his car breaks down, and then Sarah eventually picks him up. And you're wondering, why am I introducing the characters and not getting to the plot of the film? Well, there's a virus, and there's a lockdown in Michigan taking place, saying everyone stay inside, just stay down. We all been there, lockdown. And so basically, they're trying to trying to get out of the city, trying to do something, and their paths converge. And then we're also introduced to Kevin, who is in this house, which later comes the central focus of the movie, and he is, he barricades sort of in this house. He has enough food, and his wife, he's talking to his wife down in the basement, like, we're going to be okay, we're going to be fine. And soon enough, again, every character converges where Chris, his car breaks down, Sarah picks him up, they go, her car breaks down, and then they start walking, and then they get to the house and where they meet Kevin. Again, not really egos, but their paths, like, they're like standoffish, like it's going to be fine, and again, this virus that's happening, and you don't know what kind of virus it is at the moment, and so there's a lot of, again, that's the main gist of the film, and I don't want to get too in depth with certain things, but honestly, I like the film, and it's honestly for what it was. I mean, it's like an hour, a few minutes over. It was it's a short watch, but I don't really say this often, but the last one I said this with was Septic, where I was like, I love the world building that it made, and this one is like a good opening for what could eventually come, because I do believe there's a sequel in place, or hopefully there's a sequel in place to continue on this world of like this virus that's going to happen, because this is how it was with like the Purge, like it's just very contained, and like then they finally opened it up with like the Purge Anarchy, and it's this big wild crazy escape from New York sort of vibe, and that's what I felt with this one. Like it's contained, and like you get little glimpses of like this world, and especially towards the end when things start to ramp up, and then you're hoping, in the sequel that just like it lets loose, because this is just like, that first chapter and like what could come in a decent, maybe a trilogy, maybe not, who knows. Hopefully he keeps it going, because I am interested in what could become next, because this is like, I was getting like a lot of like lower budget films that we reviewed on the show. The first one that came to mind towards the end was like The Human Virus, and like how we talked about that one for a while, brought that one back into relativity, and rescued it from obscurity. I mean, and how that one like had like sort of the world building too, the virus thing going on, but this one's more creature gore effects, and again, technically zombies. Even though I don't know, it's technically they're zombies once the virus starts happening, but again, I don't want to give too much away. And again, I enjoyed the film. I had fun with it. It's a like I said, where this one's like very contained. It's a very slow build to what eventually happens in the last act of the last 20 minutes of the movie, and where it just ramps up. Where again, Reed and the biker, his 4 biker gangs, that sort of becomes like an assault on Precinct 13 nod. And there's some good lighting and camera effects, and again, I'm looking forward to what could eventually become the next film in this series if he continues it on, which I do believe he wants to. Ian, I'll let you give your thoughts, and then we'll go back and forth.
Yeah, when I saw that it was like an hour long, I was like, dang. I was kind of getting a little worried, because sometimes those movies, when they're short, they need to be longer. When they're long, they need to be short. But this movie did a really good job of actually like keeping with its pace and its time. Like nothing felt like it overstayed its welcome. And that was a nice little change of pace from the marathons we've had the past couple of months. It was
very precise in what it wanted to do.
Yeah, they knew what they wanted to do and did it well. The practical effects were great. They went hard when they needed to, and they wasn't in your face about it. The practical effects looked amazing, especially for a low budget. The camera working was fantastic. Like that shot of them walking, like that's a good shot. I was really impressed by like the camera I was like, these people know exactly what they're doing. And I was like, if they had a big, like, multi-million-dollar budget, a movie like this would have been amazing. Like, in theaters, you know, sold out. And I was like, I wish movies like this got that treatment, because this is what I want to see in theaters, not some of the crap that's been put out in the past few years. And it was really nice to see, you know, when the biker gang beat that dude's teeth out, and I was just like, oh, because, like, I even cringed at it, because broken teeth are like, it makes, like, that kind of stuff makes me cringe a little bit. There's some few things that I actually do, and I was like, they did such a good job, and I was like, you know, this is a low budget film, but they're going hard on what they, you know, on this effects. And, you know, the storyline wasn't bad. I mean, like you said, it was kind of by the numbers, but, you know, what isn't? And, but it, you know, it told its story in an entertaining way that, you know, it was nice and refreshing to see a movie take itself seriously and not just throw something together at the last second. And, you know, I kind of wish they did more with this, with the, I'm going to say, like, it's zombies? Infected, I guess, would be more correct.
Honestly, I was
wish they
thinking, like, these sort of reminded me of the zombies in Nightmare City, where, like, they had, like, the weird flesh thing, and I like the look of them. I like, you know, the multiple faces on the, you know, when like, it's just a weird, again, you don't know what kind of virus it is.
Trippy.
Hopefully that gets, because it's very, you know, multiple faces on faces, you know, in a sense it's like body horror, but it's not really body horror, and it's pretty cool. It's a cool look. I mean, I'll give them that. Like I said, it's like, if someone who watches a lot of zombie films, that's definitely something that makes it stand out among the and again, just the way that they look and how they change on a whim too, towards the end. Again, minor spoiler, where, like, you're just normal, and again, you don't know how the infection works. I mean, of course you get bit, and then of course, like, the blood, and so it's like, it's like the
chaos.
Yeah, exactly. So when, again, I'm thinking it's going to turn into like a Nightmare City scenario for those who've seen Nightmare City or City of the Walking Dead. It's just going to be like that fucking chaos, you know, where, like, you know, the main character, Sarah's going to get chased by all these zombies with, like, hatchets, and people are going to get, it's just going to be chaotic. At least that's what I'm hoping in my mind, where he continues on with the story. Because I do want to see where this goes, if he has, you know, because, again, it's just, again, that first, you know, the first chapter and the starting stages, and you just want to see, you know, if it keeps going. Of course, you want to see, like, all the gore and all the crazy things that's going to happen, because it's just like, again, it's just a very pinpoint, you know, it's just like a drop of water, you know, you get enough of it, but you want to see where the stream goes, you know, the line of water, you know, that goes down and where it drips off to, all the little intricate little details that happens. And there's a lot of that with, you know, again, like the world building. It's simple, but you want to see it expand, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing it expand. If not, this is, again, it's still a decent little film, and especially one for, like, indie horror, because we've reviewed a lot, and he didn't know what to do with it. And this one is definitely somebody who knows where he wants to take his film, and I think he worked well within his limits and his restraints, and it looked great. I mean, honestly, with the colors and, again, the lighting, definitely nods to, again, all the other filmmakers who like the blues and the greens and the pinks on the Argento colors and stuff like that. And it looked good, and it felt like again, a lot of effort and time went into it to make it good. And you can feel that, you know, when someone just takes their time and, like, wants to make a good film, no matter the budget, you can see, you know, again, you can see the minor things here and there with that. Again, it's low budget, you get that, nothing
Yeah.
there. I don't have no complaints there. We've seen worse. All right. And this one just like it felt like again it's a slow build, hopefully a bigger conclusion because I liked where it went. I liked the journey, and I'm interested to see the world open up because it's just in that small town, and then now we're going to get the next night or later on that night what's going to happen with that virus in Michigan. So I'm interested in seeing where that leads, and again more weird creatures, and maybe there's like two of them, or you never know what kind of virus this could turn out to be. And that's the thing with the thing too, because like it's just very it's like minor. It's like they get brought up, but it works and it keeps the story going. And then like you're introduced to all the characters, and so they do a good job. And again, the gore. James Bell. Again, if you haven't watched James Bell stuff, he's pretty crazy when it comes to gore. I mean, there's one where he's having sex with a skull, and it's not like the mouth, it's the brain area of the skull, and it's pretty good. I mean, his effects are pretty solid. I mean, there's a lot of gratuitous violence and gore in his stuff, and he does a great job. I mean, that's the one thing with all his films. It's just the gore's out there. It's just like you're getting castrated or someone's getting something ripped off. It's just going to be nothing but gore, or eyes gouged out and played with, stuff like that. But, yeah, this one, I do recommend it if you can get a hold of Anthony on it. Again, follow the links in the description on wherever you're listening to this and reach out to him and get a copy of the film. It's going to be one of those, again, it's just self-released at the moment, so who knows if it's going to get picked up for distribution, wider distribution, but you better get this while you can because, again, these indie filmmakers, when they make something, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's just gone. And this is one of those where I think you need to get a hold of it because it's actually solid. And, we talk about good and bad. This is definitely one of the better ones. This is up there with, like, Till Death Do Us Part, Septic, where it's just like you want to, get the word out there for, something that has a lot of heart put into it and dedication, and it shows. Especially the director's cut of Till Death. That's the one to get now. But yeah, it's definitely. I say check it out because it's definitely a fun movie. It's again, for what it is. I mean, it's perfectly fine. I mean, it's a fun movie. I mean, you can have if me and Ian was together watching it, we'd probably have a fun time watching it and have fun with it, talk back and forth. And it definitely, again, it wears its heart on its sleeve and it shows it. And it's just like, again, like I said before, like it's a director that knows what he wants and he wants to achieve that and he manages to do that pretty well. And I'm interested in seeing, again, repeating myself, where everything eventually leads into something hopefully much more bigger, given the budget. I mean, hopefully you can keep it concise,
Right. And I can definitely see, like, that, going back what I was saying about the camera angles, like, that took a lot of thought. And, like, when I was in my film studies class, we learned a lot about the camera angles. I had to write a whole essay on camera angles and stuff like that. And, just the sheer amount of detail he puts in his like the mild little scenes. I was like, man, like, this is right here is like, I would have loved to had do a movie, like a piece on a movie like this that, shows all kinds of like different theories and everything like that. And that's just I was just taken back because, like, I didn't know anything about this movie going into it other than, like, when you sent it to me. So, like, I went into it not, no idea of what it was, what to expect, and just blown away. I guess it's also because, like, now from the trauma that we have received from the marathons that we've done that I'm just like, oh my God, you know. And he really did just do so well, you know, and he really stopped it. And I think that's what a lot of filmmakers have struggled with, is where to stop the film and when to, you know, like, and a lot of them are trying to hit that hour and a half mark because they want like a full feature-length film. And so they don't get that. So they just add in a bunch of nonsense that makes no sense. You know, and I don't have a problem with a slow build. I don't. Like, yeah, I mean, it's whatever. Sometimes you need to, and then, you know, but the second half, it's just pulls you into the story deeper and deeper. As you know, as the story progresses, you're pulled into it and not just thrown into it. And it's just like, you know,
everything unfolds naturally. You know, you
don't
get introduced to the creature zombie virus until the second half, when they all converge. Like, as soon as they all converge on the house, that's when shit goes down. And it's all earned. You know, everything's like, it felt earned. You know, it's like the slow little build up. We get our backstory of our characters, and some of we have to get introduced to those before whatever happens to them. And then and then shit hits the fan. You know, and then it has some good, again, I have to applaud the effects, and I applaud everything, because I enjoyed the film. Like, again, it's just it's a fun short little movie. I mean, again, and I'm looking forward to what eventually could become, that if it expands the world of what happens next, or the continuation of that night. Because it definitely leaves off on a cliffhanger. And again, that's a minor spoiler, but we're not giving everything away. That's neither here nor there. But it just like makes you want what's next. That's what I'm trying to say.
Definitely. Yeah, it's so definitely worth a rewatch.
Yeah, this would be like a good double feature. I don't know how many people have seen it, but there's a film out there came out 2006, 2007 called The Red Skulls, and it's very similar, where it's like like rival gangs, but then they're like street gangs, not like biker gangs, but like his brother dies, and then like they go to this party, and like they spike the punch, and like you start turning into like these zombie creatures, and it's like very similar because it's all in one house, and they all fight off against each other, and it's different in like tone, but it just reminded me of The Red Skulls. It's a good film. I like The Red Skull. But yeah, I dug this one. I'm looking forward to what's next, and there's a possibility for future. I'll discuss that with you off the air, but there's a possibility there, and I'm looking forward to that if that goes down. So, I don't really know what else to say, because I don't want to get spoiler heavy, and I'm just going to say, it's a solid little flick. I mean, honestly, compared to a lot of things, it's just one of those that just like comes out of nowhere and surprises you, like Till Death Do Us Part, and where it's just like, again, like, where it's just like there's a lot of effort and heart, and especially with Till Death, where he went back and re-edited the whole film, and and reshot stuff, and so it's like, that's crazy, where he did that, and it worked out in its favor. Like, it's crazy how he, like, again, I don't want to say to our own horns, but like, there's parts in there where it felt like he listened, and so yeah, it's definitely it's crazy sometimes, and he made the film better, because again, we like Till Death Do Us Part, and but that director's cut something else, man. He really nailed it down for what didn't work with the original edition. I still got to get you a copy of that, Ian, so you can see what he did differently. But yeah, I recommend Let Us In. Check it out. It's like an hour and a few minutes. It's like 61 minutes at that. So it's a quick watch, and it's just like straightforward, precise, looks good, the gore effects are great, and it's bloody when it needs to be, and it's just like there's all kinds of nods and references, and just like it's just like a little hodgepodge of everything that works. It's just like there's like what he like liked his films, and all these little nods and stuff. Where it's just like he made his own, and it worked. It worked. I had fun with it. I'm looking forward to what's next.
Yeah.
Ian, any final words before we call this a show?
I think the only thing that, and it's not even a real problem, but at the end, when the girl is running from the person in the hazmat suit, I just started dying laughing because the run was so ridiculous. I was like, that's like, what? I was like, I know it's probably not meant to be, but like it kind of, just the way she was running was like, like flailing her arms and her legs off to the side. I was like, this feels like it was supposed to be a joke. I mean, it might have been.
I remember that. I was like, that's out of place for something like that. With her running towards the car, and it's like, it looked like it was like a scary movie sort of jab or something. Where like their arms. They're like, it's weird.
Yeah, I just
we're supposed
was like,
to be over the top ridiculous. I don't know.
I mean, like, I got a good chuckle out of that, but I was just like, it really did. I was just like, this is completely out of place for the tone of this movie. But yeah, I mean, it really, like, the colors, the color schemes that they used felt real. Like more realistic, more neutral tones and things like that. Just, and I, camera was perfect. I give this movie a 8.5 out of 10. Because I mean, I'm just excited. I'm just glad that I watched a movie that I didn't hate myself after watching it, and I'm actually kind of excited about.
Old fucking Cliff. Hopefully he melted away.
Yeah.
He got a virus and died. He's dead. But no, definitely check out Let Us In. Get in touch with Anthony Moran. Again, links are in the description of wherever you're hearing this. And check it out. Give it. Support indie horror. That's the one thing we always like to do is support the indie guys, and always, trying to reach out to everybody. As many filmmakers as I can to get their film reviewed. And again, I figured I didn't really want to hang on to this one until July, because it's still relatively new. So we always do them a little bit early here and there. But I'm looking forward to whatever's next. So Anthony, you had yourself a good film, man. I'm looking forward to what's next. So that's going to do it for this episode. So I thank everyone for listening, and we will see you next time on Horror Night Oasis.